Yo, all right. Here we are. First episode, Timeout Podcast. The man on my right, I don't think he really needs an introduction. Been around for a long time now. Probably one of the bigger names in the community, especially on the YouTube game. He's been making content alongside his brother Ketchup for a very long time now. And I'm gonna put this in post. I'm gonna put some audience clapping right now. We have Mustard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. The clapping, you can't hear it right now, but it's there. Trust me, it's there. How you going? How you going?
I'm doing all right. First things first, thanks for having me on the show. I know this is episode 1, so I feel like I'm in a privileged position to kind of
Yes.
christen this new series.
See, you gotta
Thanks for
break it
having
in. You gotta break it in.
Yeah, man. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. I know that I'm definitely excited just to kind of chill and chat because I, I I feel like podcasts in the NetherRealm
Dude,
community they go back as long as the community has always been going. Even since
mm-hmm.
the MK9 days, right? You had the Combat Tune podcast and the
Yep.
various
Some that
ones
I don't even know.
throughout
That's
the
how old they
years.
are.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I feel
So
like they've kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, Rio still has podcasts happening, but like it's not really um as popular, as it doesn't happen as
my
often.
wife making
Damn.
me a cup of tea.
How
Oh,
more
it's
English
great.
can you be, bro? How more English can you be right now?
Hey, damn, I didn't say thanks because it was like so instant. It was just in, tea, out. Thanks, Emma. I appreciate it.
Yes,
But
appreciate you,
no,
Emma.
it's definitely true where there used to be podcasts like out the years, right? Especially
For
kind of like
sure.
mid year one MK11, but now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But no, it's always cool. It's always chill, especially now where we've all got a lot more time on our hands
Yeah,
to
and
kind of like meet
we're all
people and like
online, so it's probably the best time to do them right now. Especially like after season 1 just finished. Not many people are like, I feel like everything's just happening so fast that people are still just not really dwelling on what happened in season 1, not really getting much discussion from it. It's kind of just like because there's so much still happening and everything's kind of just moved forward so quickly that I feel like season 1 kind of as soon as it finished, it's like straight away we're going into like this online tournaments and everything that's happening now.
And the craziest thing is, after what happened at Final Combat, not to dwell on it too much, but
Ooh,
it was such a massive, bitter
yeah,
disappointment
yeah,
for
yeah,
the OCQ to not happen, and finals not to have a crowd. So everyone was feeling the real depression side of things, right?
for
Everyone was
sure,
feeling
yeah,
really unmotivated and
yep,
drained, and is there light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. And now every fighting game in the world has been butchered offline because of this
yeah,
COVID-19
literally
situation.
every
And
tournament offline.
yeah, and I'm looking online and I am seeing some, some communities, some parts of different games, they're doing like weeklies are now happening online. For example, like
Mm,
locals are going online. But some games just don't have the netcode to handle it. So
it's
I
crazy.
feel like the fact that we've gone straight into more online events because our game can handle it means
Yeah,
that we were all expecting there to be this kind of like almost depressive
I
state of
know, but it never
who's
slowed
even playing
down.
the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like we were all expecting people to kind of like take a break and go, you know what, I'm gonna kind of desalt with what happened by playing some other things, taking some me time, not playing the game, not
exactly.
grinding it, and then everyone is like, "Oh, hang on, none of our
It's.
games can be played
I feel like
anymore," and our
I
game
feel
is
like people are low-key
literally
grinding more, dude. I feel like I've seen more people grinding harder lately. That's probably just because streaming is becoming more of a thing as well. But anyway, I think it's time to get a bit more into your background a little bit. Obviously,
yeah, sure.
commentating and streaming has been a thing for you more recently, but I kind of want to get into when you first started like competing. When did you like find out like, oh shit, like people actually play this game like seriously and like competitively?
So my start to competitive Mortal Kombat was actually back in 2011. It was as Mortal Kombat 9 was coming out. I was in university.
Mm,
Ryan and I were living together, studying the same course. And we were always big Mortal Kombat fans growing up. Like you just as kids, just playing
mm-hmm.
whatever Mortal Kombat was out. If we could find it in stores,
Yeah.
we would pick it up and we'd play it with like elder brother and our cousin and stuff like that. We'd always play it like winner stays on, kind of like rotation.
King of the Hill. You guys pioneered King of the Hill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm owed some royalties in the mail NetherRealm from these private things I did as a child that you possibly couldn't have known about. But we knew we were big Mortal Kombat fans,
Yeah.
and as I remember I was in college, so my college was a 2-year course,
Yep.
and
Damn, that's not bad.
my Yeah, and my university was 3 years. Yeah, it was 3 year course in university. And I remember being on like the arse end of my college course. I was like watching, we were just watching YouTube on lunch break or something, or we were like
Yeah.
near the end of lunch break and we were just chilling out watching YouTube. And I remember seeing it on the homepage. It was like E3 2010, whatever year it must have been, Mortal Kombat 9 trailer.
Oh, that's crazy.
And remember the last game we'd played at that time was MK versus DC. So there
That's
hadn't been
so
a great
sad.
Mortal Kombat game for a while.
Oh.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden here comes this Mortal Kombat 2011 E3 trailer.
Yep.
And you know, we're seeing Sector shoot a flame burner, we're seeing Nightwolf for the electric, and we're just like, we know we're gonna play this game. We
That
know
would
this
have
game
blew
is
your
gonna be what we're gonna
minds,
play
bro.
on.
That would have been
Yeah,
insane to see.
it was madness. And then it was actually quite situational, right? Like it was just a good circumstance where we ended up going to university. The game was about maybe 3 to 4 months away from being out. And
Yeah.
I remember they released a demo for it, because remember this was
I
back
remember the
in
demo, yeah.
Stone Age where demos still
Yeah, that
existed.
actually was a thing.
Yeah, and they released an MK9 demo, and Warner Brothers were announced that they were doing a promotional tour, a promotional tournament series for Mortal Kombat 9 around. I'm not sure if you've heard of the company, but there's a games retail company called Game in the UK.
Yeah. It used to be in
Um,
Australia too, actually. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, they're randomly around certain parts of Europe
Yeah.
as well, but in the UK they are like the main. They are the only real like first party games retailer. And Warner Brothers announced they were doing this big tour.
That's crazy. They had the
And
season 1, Mortal Kombat 9 season
yeah,
1.
but it was nothing. It was nothing super in depth. It was just they had consoles with the demo on that they were taking to different game stores around the UK, and they would have they would do a tournament at each store, and the winner from each store would make it to a finals. That there was a UK trade show called the Gadget Show, which is like a big convention, a big expo in the UK.
How many characters were on the demo?
4. There were 4 in the demo. It was Johnny Cage, Melina, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion.
Scorpion, yeah, of course.
And that demo was fucked, by the way. Like every character had block infinites. Like, everyone standing 1 dash standing 1 dash standing 1 was the block infinite. Like it was
crazy.
So they announced this tour, and one of the stops happened to be in Norwich, which is a city that Ryan and I were studying in university. And we had no idea about competitive at the time. In fact, I remember being quite a judgmental little shithead when I was a teenager, and I would see like I would see competitive games videos, and I would be like, "What's all the fuss about? Why are they going so mental?" Like I legitimately remember watching the Evo moment. It was Evo moment 37, isn't it? It's 37?
Yeah, Justin one, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the now legendary clip.
The best moment at Evo ever, probably.
Yeah, which I will watch now, and I'll be like, "That's sick." But when I was like an immature teenager, I watched it, and I was just like, "What are they going so crazy
nothing? It's
for?
nothing.
It's just, what's even impressive about it?" Like, because I didn't know.
It's crazy. You don't realize how crazy it is until you actually understand it more.
I couldn't help but be quite pessimistic to that kind of thing when I was a teenager. And we didn't have any idea about competitive games or gaming at all. And then this tour came around. It was free to enter. It was local to us. So we were like, screw it. We've been playing the demo. We've been doing all right, playing against each other. And we went there, and I lost like pretty far in, but I just lost it. I believe it was best of 1 single elimination.
That's crazy. Were you like trying? Were you like nervous and stuff, or was it just like you didn't really care?
I don't remember feeling nervous, but it was very weird because I'd never played a game with like anything on the line, so I didn't really know how to react. Ryan, however, kicked the shit out of everyone. Like he absolutely mocked people, and we were quite surprised. We didn't expect it because neither of us we didn't know if we were any good or not.
Yeah, you never do, really.
And Ryan just mopped the floor with everyone, and then he qualified for the Gadget Show finals, which is where we met Used for Glue. We met Ryan Hart, because Used for Glue won the Irish one, and Ryan Hart won the London one.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other players that won their various stores, and they all joined the FGC, went different places.
Yeah.
But then Ryan ended up winning the finals as well. He won the Gadget Show.
No surprise there, really. He would have he's been playing fighting for so long, especially even at that point.
No, as in Ryan is in like
Oh,
Ketchup,
right.
right?
Oh.
Yeah, like ketchup.
Oh,
Ketchup
wow.
won.
Yo,
He won the
Ketchup
whole
was
thing.
in the mix.
Yeah, but no, he was. It was a sick, and I was there with him because they gave everyone a +1, so I was there
Mm.
to watch him, or support him. And turns out they did like a European. It wasn't just the UK. We found out on the day they were doing a European tour as well, and they'd
Oh,
flown
damn.
in like the Greek winner, the French winner, the
Dude,
German
what
winner, like all
the
these different people. And then they did a European finals after that, and Ryan kicked the shit out of that as well and won that. And
crazy? What did he win?
so he won a Mortal Kombat 9 arcade machine, two Mortal Kombat like championship wrestling belts,
Yeah.
and a trip to. It was originally meant to be a trip to visit NetherRealm Studios, but it turned into a trip to Evo over time because they had some logistical problems
Mm.
with like sending us to NRS. So in
That's
the
still
end,
sick
they
that
were
you got
just
to go
like,
to Evo
oh
from
yeah,
that.
and that's why we were able to go in 2012 was
And that
because
was the
Ryan
start,
won this
huh? Once
prize
you went to Evo, it was
and
a wrap.
yeah, like knowing Eva, and that's actually why I went on such a tangent here and
Yeah,
went into
yeah.
such depth. At
Mm.
that finals where we met Ryan Hart, like Ryan and I entering tournaments, we have all of it to thank Ryan Hart
Yeah.
because we were at that finals, we were talking to him, and he was like, "Damn," because he saw the two of us play together. He was like, "You guys are nice at this game. Like, you guys are pretty good." We were like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he was saying, they do actual. If you like tournaments, they do actual like community tournaments. He told us about this forum. It was called Neo Empire back in the day. It was like the UK's. It was the UK's like
Like, yeah,
test
yeah,
your might, right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
it was a community forum that the UK would use, and tournaments would be posted there, and it was a different atmosphere back then online
I
in
can't
those
even
forums.
imagine,
But
bro. I cannot even
yeah,
imagine.
it was very different. But we ended up having a look, and yeah, the game was on the horizon, so tournaments were there, and Ryan and I started going to these local ones, and
Mm.
we were either winning them or getting second, and
Second,
that's how
yeah.
we ended up meeting Foxy because we played against Foxy online, and we hated each other because no one could
Yeah.
beat us. No one could beat us online until we found Foxy online, and Foxy was the same. Foxy was losing to no one until he found us,
Yeah,
and we
that's
were the
crazy.
only. And there was use for glue, which is it's why we joke and like rip on each other all the time, and like kind of like joke, take the piss, and because that's literally how we met each other. It
That's
was like
crazy, man.
Use for Glue hated Foxy, Foxy hated Use for Glue, and we kind of just we would irritate each other all the time because we were the only people that could beat each other in ranked and stuff on MK9. And then
That's
we ended up,
insane.
meeting at a tournament, and we ended up, having a laugh about it, and it was water under the bridge. We realized it wasn't that serious, and now we're all like literally
Yeah,
best mates.
that's crazy, yeah.
Um, but it's why we call each other the haters because that's all we were at the start when we
You guys
first
are
met each other. We were just
all toxic to each other
yeah,
online, and now best
we
friends.
just stupid ass haters is all we were. But no, and that was it. We started going to
Man, what
events,
an
and
introduction! What a crazy introduction!
oh, and I know I wouldn't change any of it, honestly. Like
That's so sick.
those
It was like,
those early days of Mortal Kombat 9 are some of my fondest memories when it comes to competitive video games as a whole. Due to either the friends I met, the experiences I had, like you know that's how I won those cups right there. That's MK9 is the
talk to
reason I
him,
have
talk to
trophies
him.
in my room.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was, but that was a thing as well, right? Like I know, yes, lol, Cyrax was busted in MK9, but like I also felt like I was genuinely really solid at that game.
Yeah, I'm
Like
sure.
I've played every NRS game competitively in some fashion,
Yeah,
but MK9 I feel like really, as
it
it
was
was
probably
my
the game you
introduction.
played the most as well, right? Like competitively.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never grinded a game like I grinded MK9. Like
for
I
sure.
was absolutely, and the same thing for Ketchup. Like the two of us we were in the zone. I
Addictive.
I, I remember, yeah, and because remember, I said we were at university at the time,
Yeah,
and neither of us have ever really come from money. So I remember, we were usually kind of, pinching the pennies to make sure that we could pay rent that month, and we would go to tournaments and go like, well, if I don't win this tournament, I can't pay my rent. But
oh,
hey, let's just win it. And then,
that's
like for example,
crazy.
World Game Cup. There was a major in France called World Game Cup that we wanted to go to because all the UK guys were going, and it would have been our first ever time on a plane, first ever time at like a non-English tournament.
Yeah,
And the game was in the lineup because of a fan vote. Like you had to vote for a game to get it on the lineup, and Mortal
Mortal
Kombat
Kombat
ended
1.
up, winning the vote.
Yeah,
That was the first time NetherRealm had ever interacted with anything we did as well. Because I remember sending it to like I think it was Paulo Garcia or it was no, it was Hector Sanchez. It was Hector Sanchez. I sent
hmm
it to him and I was like, hey, not to spam you, but we're trying to get this game nominated for this event. Would you mind maybe signal boosting it a little bit?" And he shared the link, and I was like, "Oh,
That was it.
it's so good." And the game made it in. But if we didn't win that event in any way, we wouldn't have paid rent. And then
Dude,
luckily, I won.
that's so
Won that event.
scary.
Yeah.
And
And I would never recommend anyone do that. In
Yeah,
hindsight, it was a
Duna,
terrible
that is
decision.
a
I was a stupid idiot.
great outcome, but very risky choice. But man, that's
Indeed.
sick. Like from the start to now, it's crazy, eh? Isn't it
Yeah,
actually
it's
like
been
when
a
you look back on
long
it,
time.
it was a long time ago, like almost 10 years ago when MK11 came out.
Yeah, it's weird because it in no way feels like that.
No,
And
right.
it makes me feel like a bit of a dinosaur because I know like when we will say that we're like an old school, like we're old school by NetherRealm standards, not FGC
Yeah,
standards.
not
right?
even not even close.
You've got people that have been in the FGC since like
Like
fighting
double
games first.
or even longer.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like you got people 20 plus years that have been around. So like I still feel relatively inexperienced a lot of the time. But when it comes to NetherRealm, MK9 onwards, we've been there the whole time, and it does not feel like 10 years. Not
Yeah,
even
no
close.
way. It goes so quickly though, especially when like there's so many tournaments as well, and it was like back to back every weekend and stuff. It's like time just goes so quickly.
It actually wasn't like that back then.
Oh, really?
Like America, like for MK9, it was pretty much just
The majors.
like the community at large was America and certain parts of Europe.
It was like America and
was
Friends, right? I feel like that's what it was.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought you said America and France. Yeah,
Oh,
America
no,
and
yeah.
Friends is definitely the best thing.
Yeah.
Like that there were. It was actually a bit like it is now, only on a much kind of like smaller scale. Like
Yeah.
whereas now you look at Europe and there's like a lot of players that will fill brackets and be a threat. You'll look at Russia and there will be floods of people that never get to travel or anything that are really
Exactly.
good in Russia. And
There's way more
same thing
people.
for Latin America,
Yeah.
right? And then you've got waves of UK and USA and stuff.
So much better now.
Yeah, back then there was maybe like 2 people from a certain part that might be all right.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah, they'll do all right.
Yeah, and I'm still strongly convinced that even back then, like the UK was solid at the game. Like even
For
at
sure.
that Evo 2012, like Foxy got top 16, I got top 32, and that was like the most competitive year that Evo had for the game. Arguably, a lot of people considered 2012 to be like the best Evo year. So we definitely did it right for ourselves. But no, it was a good time and a long
That's
time
so
ago,
sick.
and that kind of just started from there and just kept playing, and here we are.
So now, moving forward to we won't go too far into what we are at now, but like, when did it get to the point where you're like, because I know you kind of went from like, you slowly started going away from competing to more towards the commentary, because I guess you got like way more gigs in that like thing, because you started doing content, streaming, stuff like that. When was it like to the point where you're like, wait, I can actually like do this like as a career? Like, I mean, I'm not sure if commentary was necessarily your career ever, but like, I feel like there was a point at least in MKX where it was kind of like, that was what you were doing mainly with like all the ESL Pro League and stuff like that.
So it was actually I wouldn't really say there was a defining moment where Ryan and I kind of reflected together and said, "Damn, this is going to be our job." We're doing all right enough because we were putting full-time hours into commentary and content in MKX, but we certainly were not seeing full-time revenue.
Yeah.
Because we were working. We're actually, both of us were working for Rockstar Games at the time, and we got a job as QA testers for them, and MKX was on the horizon. We got a call from the people we know at Warner Brothers, because we'd actually, like, as Injustice 1 was coming out, Warner Brothers were doing another promotional tour for it. Only this time they asked us to come on and help them run it. Because they were like, we want this one to have a little bit of commentary, a little bit more of a community feel. So, we need 2 guys to come in and, help us out and go around the UK with these events and go to these stores and, learn the game, teach people the game.
That's
and
crazy.
They asked us to do it.
So that was like the introductions, like commentary. Like you didn't really commentate MK9 really much, did you?
I mean, we would do it in the sense that anyone would commentate back then.
Yeah.
Like,
just like
the
get on the
game
mic
would be
and do
an
it.
event.
Yeah.
There would be a desk, a headset just sitting on the table, and they would just be like, just screw it, just pick up the headset.
Yeah, just jump on.
Do what you want. So we would do that quite often because I mean, the event needed commentary. And we'd do it. In hindsight, we weren't very good at it, but we would.
That's just how it was as well. You could, like, even still that happens a lot of locals. People just like, just jump on. It's like it's not that serious sometimes.
The absolute grassroots.
Yeah.
They're not booking commentators. They're not paying people. They're just They're just saying, look, if you want to do it, just jump on and do it. We don't care.
Exactly.
But yeah, they asked us to do this Injustice 1 thing. So we had a little bit of experience commentating, and that did go down well. Warner Brothers were happy with it. The players were happy with it. I mean, we enjoyed it. We're like, oh, that was pretty fun.
Was it like streamed and stuff as well? Like, is that a thing much in Injustice 1?
It was the absolute finals were streamed, but the viewership wasn't great, and the promotions of it weren't great. And I remember the circumstances of the people playing weren't great. They had them playing on like cinema screens.
Oh
with, like,
yeah, it was like that kind of thing.
No way near the console. Yeah. It was a publisher promotional
but
thing.
I guess that would have been like
it was early days. They weren't that experienced, so yeah.
That would have been great experience for you guys though, right? Like that would have been a huge like start to really kind of getting the commentary on.
It was the moment that we realized that because we went to university to study games design, but that was the moment that we realized that isn't where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
We wanted to do events. We wanted to be a part of the world of promotions.
Yeah.
Community stuff, which is, why like to this day, my dream job is community manager for something to do with Mortal Kombat, right? That's always been my dream job, has always been that. And that was the kind of the turning point that we knew that this is the world we wanted it to go in.
Sick.
But when MKX was on the horizon, we got a call from Warner and they said, look, we can't tell you why, but there's something big happening for MKX and we'd love you guys to be a part of it, but you're going to need to be available a lot as the game is out. We can't tell you any more than that, but
man, what a phone call.
Yeah. And at the time we were working for Rockstar, so we were working for like the most successful or the most profitable games developers of all time, and here's a call saying, they didn't tell us to leave. They didn't even suggest it. It's just we knew that we wouldn't have time to do both, and there'd probably be like conflict of interests. Like I don't
something like that.
Rockstar would let us do it because they're technically a rival publisher, and developer. So we were like, so we made the decision to leave Rockstar and be available for whatever this thing was. And then
man, what a phone call! We can't tell you anything, but basically they just put the offer out there.
Yeah, like knowing what they had done in the past and things they'd said they wanted to do in the future, we knew it was definitely not going to be something tiny. And they said, look, we're doing something called the Pro League. I think our involvement was relatively last minute, but they said we're looking for Pro League. We need commentators in Europe to do it from Poland, so it's going to be a big investment. Like you're going to have to go to Poland and live there, and commentate once a week. So, when we've barely left the country before and never really gone on international holidays or anything, we're all of a sudden being told you have to live in Poland for 6 months for this thing. But, it's that they explained what Pro League was and how considerable it would be. But they did say to us, one thing is you cannot play if we're bringing you on for commentary to be a part of it, you can't play in it. You have to choose. And at that time, we were very much still like serious players. Really putting time into their own games. So we had to think about it. But because like I said, we decided that we wanted to do whatever we could to make the world of promotions and live events to be, where we made ends meet, is what we wanted to do for a living, because we enjoyed it so much. We were like, this is a really good opportunity.
The best opportunity you probably could have ever got. Crazy opportunity.
It's a game that we know we're gonna like. It's a community that we literally have given like our blood, sweat, and tears to for the past like at the time like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. We're all like, oh, let's do it. Let's just do it. And that's actually where the full-time streaming started. Because going into that, we'd done community commentary, we'd done like our own streaming. Like we were streaming to 5-6 viewers like a handful of times a week together, just doing random shit. Most of the
early days
were friends of ours that were tuning into the stream just
man, that's the start.
And then MKX came out, and because we were living in Poland, we didn't know anyone. We had nothing to do. We had nothing to do but play and stream Mortal Kombat.
Pretty sure that's like you guys just blew up, didn't you guys? Like from MKX, I think everything just kind of went like skyrocketed. I feel like
MKX was the start to us, and was when we really begun to realize that if we did it right, we could absolutely build a serious community. With what we were doing, because we loved what we were doing. People enjoyed watching us bicker and talk shit to each other all the time.
And you guys were living in Poland through like the whole like half of the first year of MKX, or like the whole year or something.
Yeah, season 1 and 2. We
Man,
would go
that's
there a
wild.
bit. We would go there. We would go there a bit before season 1 started. Go back for about a week or two, and then season 2 would start, and then we do the same thing. So we were in Poland for about 8 months ish
Crazy.
in the first year of the game. But it was 6 or 8 months, so it always blurs into it for me. At least six. Let's say
So
at least
sick
six.
though. That's so sick.
No, it was great, but because we were brand new commentators at the time,
Mm.
without going into specifics, we definitely did not get paid very much. They were very
Yeah.
much like
I think
entry level
especially even at that
amateur
point,
rates.
like commentary wasn't valued as much as it is now. Like probably
It was not
yeah,
paying.
they were probably like, dude.
Even
yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to keep
No,
cutting
no,
you
you're
off. I
good, you're
think
good,
it's
you're
because
good. You're good.
but even now, like it's hard to get a serious rate a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like for things like pro competition or like I have no doubt the Capcom Pro Tour, Tekken World Tour. I imagine if it's like the big official,
Yeah,
AAA
yeah,
tours for the game, you
for
you will
sure.
get without going into specifics, you will get a fair rate. Like
Yeah.
it would definitely be a rate that you can work
That's
with.
worth it, yeah.
But most of the time nowadays, you're still going to be having to like cut yourself, cut your rates down considerably if you want to get paid by a lot of organizers
Mhm.
because the money just isn't there. Because a lot of it is funded by the TOs themselves,
For
or
sure.
it's just not done in the same way. So you kind of have to be willing to massively go down. And back then it was even worse. So
I can't even imagine what it was like back then. I mean, like I said, the value would have been so much less. Like they didn't probably see the value in like how important commentary was, and then now it's like so important. It's like actually probably one of the most important things of the production
yeah,
at
it
this
was
point.
it was because of the loose nature of commentary where
Yeah.
anyone could kind of just pick
Mm.
up the mic and do it. It seemed like a job that someone would just do no matter what.
Yeah.
It was just, but then it started to go into the realm of people were getting better at it. People were starting to take
Yeah.
it seriously. So,
Yeah. No one was really like
obviously you're,
saying like I'm a commentator. I guess at that point it was just like
yeah,
kind of just jump on.
yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean when I said that we were putting full-time hours into it, but we weren't making
Yeah. Yeah.
full-time money from it. Like we were
Crazy hours.
commentating twice a week, maybe. We were doing Pro League, and then if they were doing like other cups, we were doing that also. There was the Combat Cup, so we were for 9 weeks. We were flying somewhere different in Europe every weekend.
oh my god.
Um, it was the Wednesday was Pro League top 16, and then top 8 in season 2, and then the Friday we were flying to wherever it was for the Combat Cup, and then Sunday or Monday we were flying home. So we were, and then
Jeez.
when we were at home in Poland, we were
Streaming.
streaming Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat. So our lives were literally Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, Mortal
That's
Kombat.
crazy.
So
And I don't feel like that's changed as much. Still, like I mean, in terms of how much hours you're putting in, like since then you've now converted to like, I guess for like almost a year now, maybe over a year almost. Like you've been
it's just been a year. Like we've only
damn.
just gone over a year.
So
So
yeah,
it's pretty
you've been
much a
full
year.
time streaming since pretty much the start of MK11, right? I don't know if it was before the game actually dropped or like
It
when did you
was it
make that
was it was
choice? Yeah.
actually it was when the last beta was out, was
Mm.
when I made the transition. Because I remember announcing that I was leaving ESL UK and I was making the transition, and it was around the beta time because where I live now, I moved in with my wife,
Yep.
and we moved in the day before the beta. So I remember sitting in this house waiting for the internet guy to come in and install the internet while Emma's back at home packing up some of the smaller things, and then the
yeah.
next day is completely and utterly just balls to the wall, packing and moving.
yeah.
And then I'm here streaming the beta while what's going on. So
Was it
it was
like
around the
a
beta time.
how long ago, like before the beta actually started, was it like the decision made, or was it like literally just like you kind of winged it? I feel like you're a pretty smart guy. I wouldn't feel like you just kind of be like
So um,
randomly do it.
so without going
Oh yeah,
too
don't
personal.
don't be like specifically or anything either.
No. It's nothing that I'm not allowed to talk about. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
very very important to me. I made the transition because I was no longer happy with my situation
yep.
at
That's fair.
ESL. Like ESL UK were a tremendous team, and still to this day the greatest production team I'd ever worked with. And
Yep.
ESL UK now, the reason Ryan is full time ESL UK is unfortunately now, they're almost the entire staff had to take. It's been reported around. It was redundancies, right?
Mm.
The company has just changed a lot, so a lot of people unfortunately had to step away.
Yeah.
But back when I chose to leave, I could see where my career was going in esports, and it was not going in the direction that I originally got into esports for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Um,
community
I,
and
I,
stuff like
I'm,
that.
I'm, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm genuinely a very anxious person anyway. Like, I've
Yeah.
always had a bit of an anxiety problem, and
Mm.
it was beginning to flare up considerably, like a lot.
I see what you
Where
mean. Yeah.
my job at ESL was to be a commentator, was to do events, was to on the downtime work with the team and do whatever, and that was totally fine. But I
Yeah.
found myself working with everything but fighting games, and every time I'd get the chance to work with fighting games, something would either go wrong or
Mm.
politics would have to get involved, and there was always a billion reasons as to why it wouldn't go the way it kind of just should have gone.
Kind of makes
Um,
sense,
and
like why you made the transition then.
Yeah, and the big thing for me was I started working with a game. I'm not going to say anything specific because it's not the game's fault. It's not the dev team's fault.
Yeah.
But I started working with a game that I fundamentally disagreed with from like a competitive integrity point of view.
Yeah.
And I only was working with it because it was my job to do so. And as obviously you're working on a show, you are going to be you're going to be positive, you're going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
trying to make people entertained, you're going to be trying to keep people entertained. And I could feel that because it was my job to kind of entertain people and keep them positive, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to but I didn't agree with what I was saying about this
Yeah, I see
specific
what you
game.
mean. I see what you mean.
I hated it. I couldn't
Yeah.
stand knowing that I was having, and it was my job to do that.
Yeah,
uh, so I decided, MK11 was on the horizon, and I could foresee that we would have a boost in viewership at the very least,
definitely.
if I was to be able to dedicate. Because remember as well, like while Ryan and I were at ESL UK full time, our content took a bit of a nosedive in terms of how much we could do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot harder.
We were streaming maybe once every 3 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe once a month, perhaps. It was always be some random ass thing.
Because you were
And
both working there full time, and like I remember you guys were
yeah,
like getting up early because you had to get like a train or something, and like it just all your time would have just been consumed from work, basically, right?
yeah. If we were to keep content going, it was two jobs. We would
Yeah,
work
yeah.
9 to 6 ESL. Get up at 8 or get up at 7, have a shower, go to work, come back at 6, do dinner, be done with dinner at about 7, work on a video, be done at about 9 or 10,
So
go to
much
bed,
time,
wake up at
too
the same
much
time.
time, too much.
Yeah, which is why if you go back to look at the K&M versus the World episodes that we did, if you look at the ones at the same time as ESL, we are both noticeably more stressed out and irate, and like it works from
It
a
actually
video
helps from
perspective
the
because people
content,
think,
yeah,
yeah, people think we're just bantering together, but behind the scenes we're legitimately like really stressed out.
yeah,
So we decided we had to stop doing it just for the sake of our own well-being.
for sure. So like,
But yeah, that was the best time to make the transition. I was like,
sick,
I made a bunch of savings.
yeah,
I was like, look, I'm gonna save what I can. I'll prepare for the worst. If it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. I can always get a new job.
for
But
sure.
I went full
Well,
time content, and it
congrats,
was
because
the
I think
best.
it's paid off pretty well. From I've been watching,
Yes,
yeah, I think it's been doing really well, man. So
it's legitimately been the best year of my
yeah,
career. Was
for
last
sure,
year.
it's been
Like I
crazy,
I
man.
I, I regret nothing about it.
Has anything like been different to what you expected? Like, has it been harder or easier, or like, has anything really shocked you since you like went full time? Because I feel like you've been, from like my perspective, just like watching, I feel like you've held it down pretty well. Like, it hasn't really seemed like anything's been different in terms of like the way you've handled it.
So the biggest thing was I was very much expecting to have to do like a part YouTube, part Twitch kind of like split.
Mm.
But seeing YouTube
YouTube
absolutely
said fuck MK.
but yeah, like
Ugh.
YouTube butchering Mortal Kombat the way it did meant that I straight up could not excuse focusing on it at all.
Yeah.
Like you have to do, obviously it's not all about the money, because I'm certainly not a rich man,
Oh,
but I'm definitely, I'm making ends meet, I'm paying my
for
bills,
sure,
and I'm
for
getting
sure.
some savings. But YouTube doing what it did meant that what I was expecting to do was have to do a bit of a split on,
Mm.
focus on Twitch, but kind of dabble in YouTube as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Wasn't the case. I just straight up could not, because especially like the first handful of MK11 videos we made from the reveal event when they let us capture footage, like
Yeah.
those videos are some of the best performing videos we've ever put out on
And
YouTube.
they just got the
Like
yellow dollar sign
yeah,
though.
like I'm talking hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, yeah,
So when at that point we've spent years honing our crafts, because all of our editing as well, like all of our content is self-taught,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
script writing, video editing,
Thumbnails,
all the
literally
techniques that
everything,
we
right?
use. Everything is
Yeah.
self-taught. Anytime we would figure something cool out, we'd tell the other one, we'd teach them how to do it, and we'd kind of try and both be on the same page. Like, Riot's definitely better at editing than I am because he just straight up does it more than I
He
do.
does
So
it more, yeah, yeah.
he's more efficient than I am. But that's because he's put a lot more time into it over the
Mm.
years. But when we put out those videos and they're performing that well, and we're getting such glowing feedback of like, holy shit, these are really well made, these are really well put together,
Yeah.
and then so we obviously think to ourselves, damn, this is the kind of content we're going to be making throughout this entire game. Look at the demand.
Yeah.
Literally, look at the demand there is for it. People love this shit, and we would
Yeah,
be
that shit
happy
was
to make
blowing up like crazy.
yeah, just to have YouTube go, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. What's
Yeah.
this right here? Is that virtual blood? Is that virtual blood? Nah, sorry, mate. We can't sell that. You see, we can't really do anything with that.
Yeah, it's
Whilst at the
fucking
same time,
crazy.
you've got people beating their kids on YouTube and filming dead bodies and
That was a rough
monetize, bro.
That was a
Monetize,
rough
like,
time for MK11, man. Like it was good
yeah.
for the game, but in terms of content creators, a lot of people were so scared and like they were just like, dude, I don't know what to do. Everyone's getting demonetized. I mean, obviously, like to some degree, it's like you have to actually think, is it worth it? Because obviously, money is not everything. But when you're putting in like hours and hours on like high quality production and high quality content, it's like it's annoying to see something like that happen, and it's like it's really frustrating as a creator.
The biggest problem is because it's thoroughly not changed, and I don't think it's ever going to change. Like, it's still a problem.
Yeah, it's still annoying
Um,
now.
but the thing is, it's not guaranteed to happen now. It just has a really
Yeah.
high chance to.
Hmm.
Like, things that people do, that they're putting these ugly Instagram filters and stickers
I
and
hate that. I
emojis all
hate
over
that.
it.
And it doesn't even
Oh,
work sometimes.
that's the point.
Yeah.
It's a matter of priorities. Like, why spend 12 hours making a YouTube video not knowing if YouTube would, because remember, it's not just about the money on YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
the money is not actually the most important thing at all, unless you literally need YouTube to get by.
Yep.
Like, there are people out there that they are YouTubers. They don't stream. YouTube is their job,
Yep.
so they have to deal with this like every day. But it's, why would you put all that time in for a video to probably get restricted and demonetized, which means that obviously you don't get paid for it, but it only appears to people that are subscribed to you.
Yep.
Only
It gets
even
way
shows
less
up.
views. Way less
Yeah,
views.
if they're signed into a profile that's over the age of 18, it no longer appears in what to watch next. It no longer appears in recommended queues. It is nowhere. And some countries in the world straight up can't watch it. It just doesn't let them watch it. It's like, sorry, the guidelines of this video are restricted in your country. So, like,
Crazy, man.
certain parts of Asia or Europe have like really strict censorship laws, and bam, they can't watch my video anymore.
So
Or
yeah,
you could stream at the same amount of time.
That's why you kind of you've been streaming like crazy, and obviously it's paid off really well, and I think that's probably what you're going to keep doing for the future for sure.
That is the plan, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I never know exactly what the future holds. Like, I'm always open to to kind of staying flexible and seeing what happens. But it's going very well. I'm enjoying it a lot, and that's the main thing. Like, I have never
Definitely.
had this much fun with a full-time job in my life.
I see you've sorry, you go.
I owe it all to the community that we've
For
been
sure.
able to
The
build,
Takunin.
and yeah, dude, yeah, I'm seeing so many, and even now I'm seeing some of our most regular viewers in chat. Because it's just support. People,
That's
they
it.
like hanging out,
That's
they
it.
like the vibe, and I've got a Discord that is super active. Like,
That's awesome.
I honestly wouldn't change a thing.
What was I gonna ask you? Oh yeah, I see you've kind of started to go. Not maybe it hasn't been recent, but I've noticed it more recently. Like, you've been playing other games on stream as well, not just MK. Like, I think that's pretty important as well. I feel like you'd probably agree that trying to make it more of a variety for not just for the viewers but for yourself as well. Like, it probably does get draining if you're just playing MK 24/7. At least that's how I feel. Like, because I play MK a lot on stream, and I'm like, dude, like sometimes I need to get off it. I need to play something else.
So there are a couple of reasons why I'm doing a lot of other games at the moment as well. Partly is I'm trying to learn from the lesson that history has taught us, and that is NetherRealm games always have their biggest year in the first year on Twitch.
Yep.
we have to remember, and this is not me throwing shots at the game or anything. I do like the game, but Injustice 2, if you wanted to be a full-time content creator in Injustice 2, you could not do it on Twitch. Like Twitch, Injustice 2 was a ghost town on Twitch.
Yes, it
It
was.
was not a game that people wanted to watch. Year one for it was fine, or the first kind of 6 or 8 months were fine. It had a really strong launch, and then the meta kind of shaped into very projectile heavy, very very dry, very very keep away heavy, and obviously viewers don't like that if it's the prominent thing in the game.
For sure.
But the game never moved away from that. So the viewers were very much like, I'm not going to watch this anymore. And other
Definitely
games
that happened a lot.
were something happened. So if you wanted to be a full-time creator on Twitch, you couldn't do it with Injustice 2.
For sure.
MKX was the same kind of deal. MKX had a massive year one on Twitch, and then it began to really fizzle out in year 2. And MK11 is kind of following the same suit, where it definitely isn't dying on Twitch.
Yeah, no way.
Not a chance is it dying.
Especially with tournaments happening so frequently.
Yeah. But this, and also this isn't just a Mortal Kombat thing as well. This is a fighting games on Twitch thing.
Yeah,
where
100%.
Fighting games don't quite have that
retention,
mass, right? That like mass hundreds of thousands of people a day will just browse the directory to look for what to
yeah, definitely.
Right? Same way they will Dead by Daylight, League,
Valorant right now.
yeah, Valorant, of course. Of course,
dude, insane.
That's one of the reasons is just in case MK11 kind of has the same thing. I don't want to focus on it only MK11 in case eventually it just stops happening, right?
For sure.
But the other reason as well is this isn't to sound arrogant or egotistical, because I know there are a lot of very hardworking streamers in the community that putting, and still to this day putting in a tremendous amount of effort. I'm always up for evolving what I do, evolving content, like never being complacent with exactly the way things are. Always try to think of how can I expand on it, how can I keep it fluid.
Yeah.
And I was able to end the first year on Twitch as one of the most viewed channels on Twitch. Whenever it came to the Twitch Rivals opportunities, or E-League, or casual home streams, or tournaments from home, exhibitions with the first 10s, locals with Hyper Combo, like if we were doing Mortal Kombat,
pretty much covered everything.
Like we covered most of what could be covered, and we were consistently going to be in like the kind of top 3 viewed channels at the time, almost every time we would go live.
I think without a doubt. No one's gonna argue that.
And that again, that's not me trying to flex. That's just me being I'm very proud of being able to do that at the end of
definitely. That's a big reason why I wanted to ask you about full-time streaming, because a lot of people, especially right now, are like, man, probably a lot of people they see you streaming doing so well, they're like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be, full-time streaming right now. And it's like, I guess the perspective is pretty important to have, especially like a lot of people don't really understand that you've been doing this for so long. Like, and I think that's a big...
It's because a lot of people are seeing the results of it, i.e., healthy viewership with a very very dedicated and very a community that means a lot to me. A lot of opportunities. A lot of people, I knowing what the internet could be like, a lot of people will see that and just be like, why is he getting to do everything? Which I understand why people think that. But you have to remember that like this is after, I mean, we've been making content on YouTube for like
insanely long time
now. Like it's like 7 or 8 years maybe. Twitch very much the same. I remember streaming on Justin.tv days. That's
insane. That's not real. Like, that's not a real website.
Like legitimately, I remember streaming to like, I'd pop off if we got 20 viewers. We'd do 24-hour charity streams to 10 viewers. And be totally okay
that's
with
it.
That. Because that's a phase that the 99.9% of all creators have to go through. That long,
everyone has to do it, man.
Arduous phase.
And it could be 3 years, could be 1 year, could be dude. It just really depends. Like, there's a little bit of a luck factor in it too, in some regards. To
absolutely. You have to get lucky to a degree. It's just a question of you can put yourselves in more favorable situations.
100%, 100%.
You know what I mean, and that just comes with the willingness to do it. Not to be one of those kind of like hashtag on the grind till I die kind of dude. Because I disagree with that approach, but
definitely
for content you have to put in a lot of footwork. You
heard it here first, guys. Put in the work. All right, put in the work.
Yeah, it's there's no shortcut. You have to do
Yep.
it, and you just have to go put as much as. And obviously, don't put yourself in. Don't hurt yourself. Don't put yourself in hospital of exhaustion or anything. Like, just you have to be committed to it. You have to be,
Definitely,
and
definitely.
you have to not be easily dismayed. Like, if you stream for a decent chunk of time. Make
Yep.
sure it's something that you want to do. Don't like
Don't
if
force
it
it.
feels like yeah, if it feels like you don't want to do it, then do something that you
Yeah,
do
because
want to
your
do.
stream
Right?
will
It's about
probably not be good
consistency.
if you actually
Yeah.
don't feel like it.
Because if you're not enjoying yourself, people will only enjoy it if they like watching you miserable, and that's not really a vibe you want to
You don't want to
really
rely on that.
build, in my opinion. But then that's kind of a continuation of what I was saying, right? Where now I'm pushing the stream into more of a variety direction.
Yep.
It's obviously like there's always going to be Mortal Kombat on the channel, always. It just might not
Yeah,
always
yeah.
be Mortal Kombat 11, right? Like
I think it's
might even
healthy, man. I
stick
think it's really good to do that.
yeah. I could stick on classic MKs, go back to MKX a bit, do some messing around with Cyrax bullshit in training mode, like speed runs, like new releases.
Oh,
If
dude,
it
I was
really
actually
wants
gonna
me to
ask you
play
about
something,
speedruns. I was actually gonna ask you about speedruns. Because you've been like, I know what's the one you have right now, the record. You and Ketchup like Shaolin Monks go
uh,
up, right?
I will actually check because there are multiple, but with the nature of speed running, it changes quite frequently. So for all I know, they're all gone. But I will have a look. I have currently right. So I currently have I've got the world record for special forces. Um,
I've never
I'm
even played that game.
Oh, it's an experience. It's an interesting game. It's interesting. I'm second place on MK Mythologies by a decent chunk of time, and there's 5 people with pretty competitive times here, and I'm number
That's
two.
insane
The
that
number
people
one,
speedrun that game.
yeah, no, the number one guy is a guy called Sagat. He's from Uruguay. Is like he has a YouTube channel dedicated to him, and he just loves streaming and he just loves speedrunning mythologies. It's like the thing he
What
does.
a
He finds
god.
all these crazy
Loyalty.
glitches and
Loyalty.
like the only way I can describe it is those Czech 4900 videos, the combo videos
Yes,
from
it's
the
like that,
MK
but
days.
speedrun.
He is like that, but for speedrunning MK mythology
Only.
specifically. Like it is madness.
That's so funny.
And here we go. And we have the world record for Shaolin Monks co-op. But although to be fair, we are the only time on this leaderboard.
Did
But
you
a
guys
lot, a
like?
lot of people.
Have you been doing speedruns before? Like, yeah, actually did them on content or anything, or you just randomly decided to do it
It's
for
always
MK?
been kind of low key a hobby for us. Like in back in university, I would speed run Donkey Kong Country, and Ryan would speed run Spyro 2.
Okay,
Because
so
there
it's
was
not
some really
completely like new to you guys.
I mean, we've always followed them. Like, we'd
Yeah,
always lurk in speedruns a lot. We'd always watch the old AGDQs back then, and it's always been something we'd enjoyed, but we're never really dedicated to it. And even with Mortal Kombat, like Shaolin Monks, Ryan and I dedicated to for about 2 weeks in total, just to learn it, figure out some strats. Because the big thing is, we wanted to find our own techniques. Because obviously, Shaolin Monks, you play as Liu Kang and Kung Lao mainly, but you unlock Scorpion and Sub Zero.
mm.
Most people are speedrunning with
The other two.
Scorpion or Kung Lao,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're in co-op, and we're just like, I mean, I was just stubbornly like, yeah, but I want to play Sub Zero, and then Ryan's like, all right, well, I'll play Scorpion then, and then we found a bunch of like, cool synergies between the two characters that let us kill bosses in a fast way, or certain areas become really easy to get through. Like, we really dedicated
You
to
guys put
that
in the hours on
because it
Shaolin
was
Monks.
co-op.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Like I literally, I shit you not, I bought and downstairs I own at Final Combat. We went to a games like secondhand games store. I bought an American PS2, right, and I eBayed an American copy of Shaolin Monks because it runs at 60 FPS as opposed to the
Oh my
PAL's
god,
50.
that's
That cost me like $100.
dude. Wait, you're gonna try and speedrun it again or something?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to beat
Yeah.
our own time because our time could absolutely be improved, and we're not happy with it. But now lockdown means we can't do it in person, so we've just got to do it
Oh
over emulators
lord.
and hope for the best. But no, but we enjoy it a lot. Like I feel like it's Mortal Kombat content, but it's something unique.
It's
It's
so
something
different. Yeah, no one's really doing that.
yeah. But no, we
All
enjoy
right.
it a lot.
Let's get into a bit of the new game. MK11. That's still a thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So Final Combat's just finished, but I kind of want to get into. I don't want to talk too much about Final Combat, but overall, what did you think of the first season? Like in terms of the viewership, the retention, what people thought of the game and what you thought of the game. I feel like personally, I think it's been a pretty good year. Probably one of maybe MK's best years, at least from my perspective. But I'm not sure what you think.
I would say it is only rivaled by MKX's year one.
That too.
I feel like MKX truly did have like the best kind of breakout year you could want, because
Yeah.
not only was it another Mortal Kombat after Injustice, because Injustice people were quite divided. That was very much like only America played that game really.
Yeah.
So MKX was the return of the rest of the world getting back into Mortal Kombat. Obviously, it launched with a pro league. They were crowdfunding, so hella events offline. We're
Lots
getting
of money.
loads of money. Obviously, the game was big on. That was the first time another own game had launched while Twitch was becoming a big thing.
True.
Same thing for YouTube. Like it was the best situated game for that kind of like boom of options for the viewer. The main thing with the viewer had so much more to do to get involved. Whereas before you would watch tournaments and you'd go to TYM and that was it. That was the extent of your community watching. Whereas now you can watch streams, you can watch videos on YouTube, you can play online because there's loads of people playing. You've got Pro League you can enter. You've got events you can go to because every tournament has the game in it again. And the game, got received very well. Like, yes, a lot of people were annoyed by its relentless guessing game mix-ups and unseeable 50-50s, but the viewers didn't care. They were like, "This is exciting. This is hype."
Definitely.
Which is fair.
It was because it was kind of hype.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it was
It was a scary game, but it was hype.
Yeah, and it launched, of course, with the Fatal 8 exhibition. That was a real big starting point, I think, for the game.
Yeah.
It was really good, like, kind of coming out of the gates at full speed, you know what I mean? With that
it was a
already.
huge thing. That was the first thing I saw, and I was like, instantly, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get the game. Like, there's no way I'm not getting it.
Oh, it was great. Like, that was the first event that I was ever, like, officially picked up to commentate. My commentary wasn't even that good. I didn't even have my type on properly. It wasn't.
That's where the famous was that where the handshake thing happened, or was that not at Fatal 8? I forget.
It certainly was.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on the screen after. I'm gonna put that on the screen in the video.
All right, don't worry. It was it's one of those typical esports handshakes, but so much better.
It's amazing.
That's incredible.
If you know, you know.
But MK11's year one, I think, was really good. I think it definitely wasn't as kind of unanimously well received. Like, obviously, like now Twitter is the biggest thing. You obviously see a lot of negativity online from people. They'll get disgruntled with certain parts of the game, or they'll be playing and something will happen, or they'll fight a character they don't like, and obviously Twitter is the first place you see it.
It's a lot easier to complain. I mean, or it's more noticed now than it was before.
Well, it's also that we have developers that will actually actively update the game in the middle of the season.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
Most fighting games will have one big patch a year at the end of the year, and then
so everyone that's complaining is complaining for a whole year.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people in other games, if they're making like balance requests and they're asking for nerfs or buffs, they'll do it near the end because they know that's where it's likely to happen.
That's true. That's true.
Because NetherRealm will do multiple patches a year, obviously a lot of people
complain all the time.
If I complain, maybe it will get seen by a dev and it will change. But if we're talking just a competitive crowd, which again,
that's all I'm talking about, really.
Not everyone really gelled with the game as much as they wanted to, but overall I think the game has done really well and continues to do well. I feel like the numbers speak for themselves, where the viewership is still very good for online events, for offline events. Attendance has been great. I know
it's been awesome this year.
Yeah, like year one attendance has been incredible. It's literally been a
record. Wasn't Evo like 1800?
It was
something like that. It was a lot. It was huge.
It was the biggest Mortal Kombat tournament of all time. I can't remember exactly how much, but
I think it was around the 1800 mark.
It was bigger than MKX. In fact, I'm actually going to Google it. Evo 2019.
I remember it was like just so many people playing MK11, and I was like, and that was not even like, that was a few months after the game came out as well, and there was already a patch since then, so it was like in a pretty good spot. I feel like to get that many people at Evo is like, I mean, at any tournament, even Combat Breaker, the first tourney had a lot of people as well.
Here we go. It was 1,500. It was 1,567. Yeah, that is
crazy, dude.
Biggest Mortal Kombat tournament of all time, right there.
Crazy. I think it's gonna. It might hit more. At the next Evo, it might hit more.
Oh dear. I mean that's that's a whole other kettle of fish, right? Like right now,
Yeah, we don't
we're
have to
talking
get into
about
that. We don't have to get
events
into that.
being cancelled, and I mean, I would be so surprised if Evo even. I want it to happen because I want to watch Evo.
Yeah,
Because I'm not going this year, but like, if
yeah,
obviously on the assumption that it was happening, but like,
yeah.
I would want it to happen from a viewer perspective, but I can
Me
imagine
too.
no better environment
Why it doesn't?
to spreading COVID-19
Yeah,
than
I'm
a
I'm
fighting
probably
game
gonna
tournament.
be okay if it doesn't happen.
It's probably just more sensible, but I mean, we'll see.
Yes,
We'll find out over the next couple months, of course. But
but now
anyway,
like, sorry, you go.
so I was taking a big sip of my tea. But no, I think it's been really good. I think the game has been pushed in the right direction. Obviously, at
hmm
launch, the biggest thing that got me were I was not a believer in the variations the way they did them. I have always been one of the main advocates for customs from day one to
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
and I still stick
Yeah,
true to
you
that.
love customs.
I still think because I look at the game and I can't help but think that customs were what this game was made for. You know, I look at the
Yeah,
way that custom variations are put together, and I think to myself that to me the game is screaming, "I am made for customs, but I'm being played with
dude,
presets." Right?
exactly, exactly.
Um, but you know, we can get into that in more in depth if you want to. But kind of to finish my point, like I was not a believer in them because especially at launch, so many of the variations just weren't very good, or they were just
Yeah,
pointless because one was so
or
much
like
better.
one was good and the other one was like
Yeah.
never worth it.
Remember, like launch Kano, you had Ripper and pre-patch Dirtbag. You had
Yeah,
pre-patch Jaded. You had pre-patch. Who else had
for even
pre-patch?
like Frostbite is still like the same as before, but originally everyone thought it was terrible.
Yeah,
And you
Frostbite
could,
wasn't
there's so
great.
many, dude. There's so many.
True Khan, Shao Kahn with its 2 second taunts or whatever. But yeah, and there were so many of those, and obviously like pokes didn't gel into standing buttons, and
hmm
there were so many strange parts to the
Things at
game that
first are.
yeah, that low key, if you really think about it, the game has been honestly cleaned up so much throughout the
It's
year.
way better now,
Yeah,
so much better.
so
That
many
like double crushing blow throws, stuff like that.
yeah,
It was just like
obviously, like
sus.
not to say that the game is free of inconsistencies and general jankiness. Like we're still seeing clips of like things hitting behind characters and
Yep, yeah,
things
yeah.
whiffing at random. Like, but I
hmm
from what we've seen, we have no reason to believe that over time things won't get
Yeah, I'm really
patched up.
optimistic about like the way like they balance the game and fix bugs and stuff. They've been pretty ridiculous with it this year. Like for the first year of MK11, they fixed so much stuff. Obviously, they can't fix everything every patch. It's like something's always gonna go wrong, like eventually. So
Yeah, and also the big thing I think this has been and I say this as an MKX like Triborg main. This has been the best lot of DLC that I think we've ever
it's
seen in a
really
game.
good. It's
I
really good.
think I massively agree with the way that they've released them. I really agree with the launch schedule, like a month and a half, two
Mm,
months in between. I like the way combat casts have been kind of at the same time.
it's been
They've
good
they've really given themselves time to flesh out these characters, and they've also had really good variations as well. Like I don't think there
for
has been
sure.
a single bad DLC character. I think they are all strong,
I agree. I
solid
agree. They're all
characters.
really good. I mean, I guess like they get more time, I guess, on the characters, so they get to see, and the game's developed at that point, like what the meta is and stuff like that. So they kind of have a way to make the balance work around that as well. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure, and they offer such different playstyles as well. Like you've got the dryness of Shang, you've got the staggers of Nightwolf, you've got
Hmm.
the straight up MKX mix of Terminator, you've got the neutral of
Oh,
Sindel, and you've got the. I mean, it's a bit early to tell what Spawn is doing exactly, but
I don't even know what he's doing. He's obviously good though.
yeah, he's
He's
definitely
clearly
good.
good.
And then you've got
hmm
the top tierness of Joker.
Yep. So yeah,
Oh,
but I mean, like I agree, the DLC is awesome, and I can't wait for Combat Pack 2, which is obviously coming.
I hope
Um,
so. I mean, I feel like there is a 0% chance that there are not more
I
characters.
think there's also 0%, especially with their little email mistakes and their in-game notification mistakes. So I think we definitely know that there's a Combat Pack 2 coming.
I mean, I got that email with Ash Williams written on it. But here's
Mm,
the question. Here's the question, right? And by email I mean like when Warner Brothers send out to like if you sign up for the MK newsletter, they send you an
yeah,
email. And in the newsletter, at the bottom of the newsletter, when they were giving like their trademarks at the bottom, it was like Mortal
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kombat is owned by NetherRealm Studios, who are a subsidiary of Warner, or whatever it said. And then it said like Joker, property of DC, Terminator property of whatever movie company he owns, and then it said Ash Williams property of whoever owns Ash Williams.
Yeah.
The question is, because we know that the same thing happened before, right? Like the in-game notification of Ash Williams.
Yeah.
The question is, was it a bait and switch, or was Ash Williams just replaced and the newsletter was a template that they forgot to change? Like, is he?
I think he was.
Was
yeah,
he just
true.
meant to be in and then just wasn't, and they forgot to update the template of the newsletter? Like, who
Maybe.
knows?
Yeah, we that could be a thing. I feel like he's in Combat Back 2 and they just swapped him out for Terminator or whoever it was at the time, but
It would have been Joker.
I mean,
because Joker.
oh yeah, Joker. It was Joker. Yeah.
His model in the trailer was like nothing compared to what he ended
Yeah,
up being.
it was really ugly. All right, I got some questions now, some rapid
Sure.
fire. All right, you don't have to answer them instantly, but I'm gonna just throw them out once you finish the first one. They're from Twitter, and I might get some from chat at the end too, but these are all from Twitter, and one personally from me. It's really important, so please answer it with detail. All right, first question: who is the worst character in the entire MK universe, based on their lore?
Su Hao.
I agree with that. I like that answer
because Su Hao is just he is part of the worst version of the Black Dragon, right? And his whole shtick is that he is just a crony. He is like a minion for Movado, right? And I'm not too up to date with the specifics of the comics and stuff like that, but I will never forget, and I saw this in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. This was the way that Midway described what was so special about Su Hao, right? They said, and I quote, "He is very good at concentrating on one thing at a time." That was supposed
That's
to
all
be.
you need to say.
So it's like, and this is a game with a stance. So like, is he really good at punching or kicking? He can throw, he can block, or he can throw. Like, and that was his whole thing. I feel like he is just because I feel like there were characters that were just like alternate versions of Kano in slightly different ways, right?
Yep.
Like you had Kira, who was like a female Kano with Sonya moves. You had Jarek, who was like Kano, but you know, with again like a slight difference in a few things here and there.
Yeah.
I feel like Su Hao was the 3D MK's version of that, just in an infinitely less appealing way, right?
He's so unappealing.
I don't see the appeal of Su Hao at all. Like, if you like Su Hao, cool. Like, all the power to you. Like, do what you want. But for me, he is probably the most uninteresting Mortal Kombat character of all time.
He's up there. He's definitely up there. All right.
Also, do you remember his fireball? You ever play him in Armageddon? Do you remember his fireball?
I don't think I ever played that character in my life.
Right. What I'm gonna do today, it's gonna be my mission. I'm gonna load up Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I'm gonna throw his fireball. I'm gonna put it on Twitter for the world to see because it needs to be seen.
Okay,
it is
please
the worst
do.
projectile I've ever seen in the Mortal Kombat.
Oh my god. I need to see that. All right. This question, like, I feel like I got like 3 questions of the same kind of category, like in terms of like music and stuff like that. Someone asked, can you play any instruments or do you want to learn any?
I don't know if you count it, but because it's not really an instrument, but it's music. I've always been a vocalist, like my entire life. I've always been a singer.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's an instrument.
Yeah, like I've always been a singer in various. I've never really been a part of any like official bands or anything, or I've never been taken part in any kind of like proper live shows. But
yeah,
I used to jam a lot back in university. There was a handful of us that we'd rent out like those like music rooms where you just go in and rent instruments. They've got loads of soundproof walls, and we'd go in there and we'd jam various things. We'd do loads of open mic nights at our university because it was an arts university, so music was a big thing there as well. And their open mic night was like, it was kitted out. It was the SU bar. It was just like big student bar, but it was like a converted church, so it looked really cool. It had this like really nice aesthetic around it. But they would have like instruments and everything set up, and you just go in and just
do whatever you want, pretty much. Sick.
So I've always done that a lot. It's like one of my main hobbies really is just vocals overall. But last year I started to teach myself Actually, was it last year? No, it was the end of 2018, kind of like November of 2018. I picked up a bass guitar,
Oh, sick.
because I knew that it was actually around the time that I was thinking of going full-time content, and I was like, look, I've always wanted to play an instrument, but I've never
Mm.
actually just taken the plunge. Like I've dabbled here and there, like I used to.
It's really hard. It's actually
Yeah,
really hard.
I used to play a little keyboard some years
Yeah.
ago. I played drums when I was younger for like a little bit. I got a cheap kit, and I used to play with kids in school and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I wanted to. I wanted something that wasn't gaming related that I could just chill out to with myself. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
an instrument is the perfect one. And a lot of the music that I listen to, a lot of my favorite bands are very bass heavy, right? Very
Mm.
either the bassists are writing the songs, or the groove is what's carrying a lot of the track, or the atmosphere. Like
Yeah.
um, Justin Chancellor of Tool, or Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, like these kind of groups where the bass is such a big part. And I was like, screw
I
it,
see what you
I'll
mean. Yeah.
pick up a bass guitar, and I'll do it. And I've been playing bass now for about a year and a half. It's all self-taught. Like I'm following
Yeah,
tabs
yeah.
online. I'm doing tunings myself. But no,
Sick.
I'm really enjoying it, and it's something that really does chill me out. Ketchup's always
That's
been a
sick.
drummer. He's been a drummer his entire life. So
Mm.
we've always been very our entire family at home have always been very musical. Like my dad was a drummer, my
That's
uncle was
sick.
a drummer, yeah, my mom was a singer. Like it's always been in the family in some way,
That's
music.
dope. All right. On the same note of music, someone asked favorite metal band because I'm
Tool,
assuming you listen to metal.
yes,
Tool.
yeah.
It's got like. That's got like.
Tool are my favorite band of all time. Like I'm quite open minded when it comes to
They're
music.
pretty
Like
insane. I'm not
there are a
gonna lie, they're
lot
insane.
there are a lot of groups that I like, but Tool are just like my absolute number one.
Yeah, they're godlike. They're godlike. They did make us wait forever for that album, but they're godlike.
I mean, it's
Um,
just, it's what they do. Like
yeah,
they take their time, they release a record, and then 10 years later they do another one. But like, I mean, because I'm a big fan, like I'm a big fan of like strong vocalists as well. Like vocalists are the main part of the band that I will listen to for the most part. And there are a
mm,
lot of singers that I look up to, that I've tried to take inspiration from, or I just like
yeah,
listening to their voice. I think they sound sick. And Maynard from Tool is one of my favorite vocalists of all time. He might be my absolute favorite. And he's part of so many different
sick.
groups. So even though Tool aren't making records for like 10 years at a time, he's obviously doing
Yeah,
Fur, he's doing
other
Perfect
stuff.
Circle, he's cameoing, or appearing on various other tracks for different
Mm.
different groups. Like, so that I've always been able to get my Maynard fix, just maybe not the Tool fix
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the years.
yeah.
But that's been all right for me.
All right, that's a good choice. Spooter actually, my boy Spooter, I had to shout him out for this one.
Shout to
He went, he
Spooner.
wanted he wanted to know your favorite low tier character you've ever played in an NRS game.
Mm. Um. Oh, this is actually quite.
It's a weird question because you have to actually think who's low tier, and you don't want to downplay either. So be careful.
So no, there are only two potentials that it could be. I can't count Kano and MK11 because I don't feel that he's. I mean, he was arguably low tier at the start, but he's definitely okay now.
Hey, he
He's
was
kind
not
of.
low tier at the start. He was in top 24 with two people. All right, I remember first
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah, but that was all gimmicks. I didn't know what I was doing. That was before people knew that forward one was a high, so they let me do it.
Oh
And
lord.
then Rat Bag came out, and I still couldn't do it because it still whiffs on 99% of the cards. But if we're counting Kano, like launch Kano and MK11, if you're counting him as a low tier one, I would say that, because I had a lot of fun with Kano at the start, like really
Yeah, he
enjoyable.
was definitely low tier at
Um,
first.
but if we're going to other games, it's either MK9 Kano, because I did play a lot of Kano and MK9, and he was arguably the worst character in that game. Like he had the frame data of
All,
an NPC
all I
character.
remember is his Kano ball input was not a Kano ball
It
input.
was
It
forward,
was really
down,
weird, right?
back, up, or forward, down, back, forward, which was the MK1 Kano ball input. If you
Oh.
if you did a full circle with the D-pad or the joystick, you would do a Kano ball. And do you want to know how you EX'd the Kano ball? Forward,
Go, tell me.
down, back, block, up. That is how you EX Kano ball in MK9.
Yeah.
Forward, down, back, block, up. Oh, it was the
Oh
worst.
lord, that is probably the worst input ever.
So it's either MK9 Kano or Injustice 2 Raiden.
Oh,
Because,
that's.
but Injustice 2 Raiden was fun against people that literally had no idea what the matchup was.
Yeah, he
If
actually
they-
looked okay if you didn't know him,
Yeah.
if they didn't know the matchup.
If they didn't know anything about Raiden, the character looked pretty good.
He looked
but
insane.
yeah, if they had even the remote knowledge of what to do to abuse that character, he could do nothing. He literally felt like he was in the wrong game. Like he just rocked up to the Injustice roster. The way he moved, the way his buttons work, the way he had no range, like it was like he just wasn't in the right game. But for that reason, I'm not going to say Raiden Injustice 2 because of those reasons, I actually found him very frustrating to play because he was fun. Like when he worked, he was fun, but most of the time he didn't. And when he didn't work, it was just really irritating to play as.
Yeah, I felt that too.
I would definitely say MK9's Kano because MK9 Kano was most people didn't know in that game because a lot of people just didn't bother with any matchups if they played certain characters.
Yeah, they just played the game.
But Kano, he had a good projectile. You could play almost like a Shoto style with, you know, the way you either do Sonic Boom and Flash Kick or Hadouken Shoryuken to stop people jumping. You could do a similar game.
You could do that with Kano.
Yeah, with Kano ball.
You just had to press that weird input every time Kano ball.
Actually, up ball was down forward too. So if you just wanted to up ball,
what?
You could,
what the hell?
Yeah, for some reason up ball was down forward too, but up ball was actually absurdly fast as well. It was super quick. So
that's so funny.
Yeah, so you could play a very dry style. He had decent mids. Like you almost had to do the Foxy style. Like you couldn't use most of his buttons, but the few you could use, you could make work.
They worked.
And he had some sick, and his X-ray was sick, where he had a command grab X-ray, which you imagine a character that keeps you there with fast projectiles and up ball gets you blocking, and he's got an armored command grab that does 40%, and he didn't really spend bar or anything, so you would actually get X-ray like every game. Unless you had to break, which would happen a lot because you would die to everything in that game. But it was fun. I really enjoyed him.
Kano boys. That's all you got to say. You picked Kano in 2 different games. That's crazy.
Dude, Kano is always my... If Cyrax isn't in the game, Kano is where I start, always.
Hey, at least he was good in MKX, I think. I think he was godlike in MKX.
Dude, I was screaming the tale of Cutthroat from day one, dude. Like, from day one. Do you remember he had 50% 50-50 combos on day one?
And that was safe as well.
His back 3 gave him a meterless 50%. It was back 3.
He was disgusting.
Yeah, it was the back 3 string, neutral jump punch, back 3 string, 1-1-2, knife, jump in, 1-1-2 up was 50%. No, that was 50%.
Yeah, he was fucked up.
Yeah, and all of it ended in a splat, so he would be able to guarantee the damage. Like back 1 string was safe, the overhead string was safe, low string was plus.
And you could cancel an EX buff to be plus as well, right?
Yeah,
or to get a huge combo. Crazy.
Straight ball was an armored launcher that you could just do and
you could do 3 hits or something too. Yeah.
Oh, that was the good shit.
Oh man. Alright, let's be glad that's not existing.
And then they
anymore.
buffed him. They made down back 1 save. Do you remember? They made the knife slash save.
I don't remember.
I
don't remember.
They made his down back 1.
Oh yeah, they did. I remember that. So
you could counter poke with it, and on hit it jail.
Yep, I remember that. All right. This is a question for me because I actually just randomly thought of this when I was driving. Will you ever cut your hair short?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Another question. It's a back to back. How many Twitch subs do you have to get gifted for you to shave your head? How many? What's a number on it? Put a number on it. The Takunin does not play around. They might actually do this, so be careful.
50,000 subs.
50,000? Yeah, that's like 150 grand. Hold up.
No, I'm legit telling you. Like I am, and even then, I probably still wouldn't do it. Like I am.
All right, boys.
Like I am so attached. Cash down where are you at? Right, Muffin. All right. I am so attached to my hair because, like, it sounds so stupid, but like, music has always been a big part of my life. Like always. Through my family, like my dad had long hair. A lot of my dad's brothers had long hair. I grew up listening to my mum had me listening to like Thin Lizzy, Lenny Kravitz, like proper like rock and roll stars. You know what I mean? Like Phil Lynott.
The influence is there.
Yeah, and then you had like the kind of like 80s hair metal days and then the heavy metal days.
Yeah, you're definitely never doing that.
I loved that aesthetic, right? That aesthetic of just long, wavy, curly hair and playing rock music. Like I've always loved that, and I've always wanted to be that. Hence, I look the way I do because it's the way that I feel the most comfortable. I feel like it represents me. It gives the message off to other people, the message that I want to send, right? Which is always why I feel like esports has always been a bit of a question mark because I don't look very esports, and but esports
You
is what I
definitely look
do.
like you belong in a band to like popping off.
It's like, and now here's the intermission. Mustard can come on stage. But no, it's something that I would never want to happen. I want to grow old. I want to be one of those 70-year-old dudes with like long silver hair and a silver
Look,
beard. ZZ Top. You know what I mean?
lower the number a little bit. Your hair will grow back, right? 10,000 subs. I think that's fair. 10k. We'll talk.
Oh,
Cash
no.
now. I don't know who that is, but I'm assuming he's been balling out in your stream. So
He is the reason our sub maximum we ever hit was 800.
all right, boys. Cash now. You know what to do. All right. 50k. Come on.
Please don't.
All right.
Do that.
Let's get. I'll get a few from the chat. I think I'll get like 3 or 4 because we've been gone for a while now. So
yeah, sure. No worries, dude. I'm totally good to follow your lead.
all right, let's get a few. So, my boy the Beast in the chat, he said a lot of fighting games depend on how well they play online. Do you think that Mortal Kombat would have been as successful if the netcode was not improved during MKXL? Do you think we'd still see players such as Ninja Killer if the netcode wasn't as good?
Not a chance. Ninja Killer or players like Ninja Killer would be playing Tekken right now, or they'd be playing like legitimately. I think our community would be like half the size because our community is mainly
I
online
agree.
players, and like people don't. They just like it would still be something where you couldn't. It's not that people wouldn't enjoy playing online because you can deal with bad netcode. Like it's not if you accept that bad netcode isn't competitive, you can play it. But you cannot get as good at the game because you can't. You have to play it in a different way. Because that's what we had. Remember, like MK9's netcode was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I would never.
MKX launch netcode. Oh my god, how the hell did
I remember. I was playing it, and I was like,
oh my god.
I thought it was like it was not terrible, but obviously it was. And then when we got blessed with the buff, it was like, oh, this is how you play the game.
No, like legitimately. It saved our community, right? Like our community.
Yeah, it did so much for us.
And I think it's the reason why our community has so many good players online. That because they
I agree.
Be good, you know, the combats, the Ninja Killers,
and Combat League too is a big influence in getting like people to start grinding harder.
Yeah, for sure. Like the fact that our netcode is it's not that it's playable, it's that it's competitive. You can be competitive online now. You absolutely can.
100%. Ninja Killer's proved that to the next point, and he's not the only one.
1000%.
He's not even the only one either.
If you only have online, you can get good at the game. The only thing online can't teach you is how to play in an offline environment with a whole room of people screaming and shouting.
Yep, exactly. The crazy thing is too, like most people that are top players, even when offline events are happening, they're only playing online anyway. Like 90% of them, I would say, because it's that good. It's like you don't really need to. Obviously, offline and online are different, but like most of the stuff that's happening in the matches is gonna be the same on both.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Dafty's saying in chat, video games yo is the perfect example from a European UK standpoint.
For sure.
Online all day, every day. Found out about one offline event because Ryan, Ketchup hit him up and was like, "Hey, dude, you're really good. Whereabouts in the UK are you from?" And he said London. And Ryan was like, "Well, there's this, local tournament."
And that was a wrap.
And that was it. He went to it. He was hooked. He was like, "Damn, this is really fun." And now he's
low key godlike.
He's one of the best international players you can get. It's really been that kind of like glow up. But yeah, no, I absolutely think that our community would be like half the size because not only would it be hard to play online, it would be. Excuse me, sorry, I'm breathing in too much air.
You're good, bro. You're good.
It would be hard to take it seriously. The community would be driven, like there would be so much conflict between strong online players that wanted to prove themselves and offline players that were like, yeah, but you only play online. Online sucks. Online doesn't.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, actually, that's actually pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's exactly that, right? And that would be happening.
Way better. I agree. All right. Hannah in the chat said, "What advice would you give to someone who is new at MK commentary?"
So, MK commentary specifically, I would just say you want to make sure that you know the game as much as you can. Like, I'm not saying you need to be able to, need to know every little tiny thing about it, but the more you know, the more you have to talk about, right? Like when it comes to commentary, it's most people need a good, like a thorough understanding of what they're commentating.
For sure.
So they can say the right things, so they're not second guessing themselves, so they're not saying, because again, if there's one thing that annoys the viewer, it's when you're straight up wrong about what you're saying, and you're wrong a lot.
Yep.
Like the viewers will forgive a mistake here and there, but if you're consistently making statements about the game that aren't true from a gameplay perspective, then the viewer will get bothered by it. If you are someone like Tasty Steve, like the games he
He could
follows,
just say anything.
yeah. The games he follows, he knows so much about and can just
Yep.
he could write essays on what he knows. But a lot of the time,
Exactly.
he'll jump on whatever game because he just oozes charisma, right? Like he has things he can say,
Yeah,
stuff he can
yeah,
talk
for
about,
sure.
and he is just like a natural born commentator. But a lot of us aren't like that. We kind of have to know,
Hmm.
as much as possible. Don't get overwhelmed by it as well. Like don't feel like you need to, constantly play and learn the game, because at the end of the day, commentary is more than just spouting knowledge. Commentary is,
Exactly.
and this isn't actually like a Mortal Kombat specific thing. When the question is a new Mortal Kombat commentator, I would say think about
It's for
overall
everything.
commentary, right? Think about stuff that
Yep.
applies to commentary as a practice. Because if you're a new commentator, then try and understand commentary first and then go to the game specific stuff. As a new commentator, you want to be thinking about that. The point of a commentator is to make the broadcast better. Your job is to educate and entertain above all else.
Yep.
Your job is to know more than the average viewer. So when the player does some sick stuff, you can quickly explain what it was in a timely fashion and get excited about it and really big up what's going on, right? You want to make the players look good. You want to make the game seem cool. You want to, if
Facts.
you want your natural excitement of what you're watching shown through to the player, right? Like you're commentating because you like the game you're commentating. The game you're commentating excites you. You want that excitement to reflect in what you're saying. You want the viewer to feel what you're feeling, and that's the point. That is your
That's a
job. So just always remember that point of it is the way you feel about watching a game, the way you're excited, the way you're hype about it, the way you're entertained. It's your job to convey those emotions to the viewer, right? So why are you excited about it? Explain it to the viewer. Say it to the viewer, right? That was cool because
damn.
damn, I can't believe this is a thing. Oh man, that was so difficult. This was that. This was that. This player's done. This guy's had a crazy. You're excited because he's had a crazy run through losers bracket. Talk about that run. Talk about key moments he's done. Talk about has he been emotional? Has he been getting salty? Has he been like, how is he in between rounds? Like everything about that situation that is making you excited for it. Make sure the viewer knows that too. Just in a way that is quick for them to really understand.
That's perfect. Hold up. I'm about to be a commentator with that. Hold up. I'm about to be a commentator.
Quick.
I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. All right. I'll get two more. Second last one. As a fellow man of much hair, this is from Camzor. He said, "What shampoo and conditioner do you use?"
Anything with argan oil. Argan oil generally just agrees with my hair very well. I will shampoo every time I have a shower, and I will condition about once a week. I will make sure the biggest thing is brushing. If you want to look after your hair, you want to brush it. Um, like don't wash it every single day. I will have a shower every other day and a wash most days, or sometimes if it's a hot. Now we're getting to a hotter point of the year. I will I'm having showers every day. But I will still wash my hair every other day. So one on, one off, one on, one off.
Mm.
But I condition once a week.
Also, don't worry about the shampoo and conditioner because he's going to be shaving his head in about 2 more months. I went to get the 50k gift subs, so don't worry about that anymore.
I'm gonna have like 10 years to regrow it and think about what new shampoos I will use.
All right, last one. I don't really know how you can answer this. I mean, you probably figure out. Have you ever thought about doing a type of Coliseum / like online tournament thing in EU? I know there's like the whole Prince Panther thing happening at the moment, but have you ever thought about doing like your own one and something like that?
Ryan and I are absolutely looking at options.
Mm,
I unfortunately have nothing to report right now. I wish I did. But
yeah.
one thing that I want people to remember as well is, and this is in no way me knocking what Aquaman is doing by any means. Like there is no negative to be found with what the Coliseum is doing. Like
Facts.
that
Facts.
shit is a gold, like is gold dust for the community. It's great. But even Aquaman has said himself many times. Aquaman has been working on the Coliseum for like 6 months. Getting
Hmm.
graphics together, finding dates, finding times. Obviously, like it's a team of people. Like he does a lot of the work, but there is someone that does brackets behind the scenes. Obviously, he had a graphics artist that was making all the transitions and stuff for him, and then a couple of them will do brackets, but he does a lot of the production, so he'll do the bracket technology, and he's got all the graphics and cool stuff like that, and he'll have a
Yep,
co-commentator, which is sick. But that took a long time to prep, right? It took him about 6 months to
for
sort out.
sure.
And the Colosseum has happened now. Like it was always penned to happen now. It was always meant to happen after Final Combat. Like I think the idea was meant to be in between, because we all assumed a season 2 would get announced and it would start a combat breaker, right? That was, we were all assuming
Mm.
that. So I think the idea for and you look at the time of the Colosseum, it was meant to start after Final Combat and begin and kind of end as combat breaker happens. So that
Yeah.
gap is filled by something sick.
Yep.
It kind of just so happens that this COVID-19 situation has kicked off after Final Combat, so now the Colosseum is
Exactly.
here, and it is this because it would have been sick anyway, but now it really has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
like the
Now it's popping
lifesaver,
even. It's
yeah,
popping like
for the
crazy.
community.
400 entrants and stuff like that.
And the reason I'm saying this is not that it's not that we can't do it. It's that Mr. Aquaman was very prepared, right? He spent a long
Yeah,
time
yeah.
planning this tournament series,
Hmm.
and it did not happen overnight. And that is the point
No.
I'm trying to make by bringing this up. It didn't
Yeah, for
happen
sure.
overnight. It took a long time to prepare. So obviously we see how successful this is, and we see that obviously it is North America only. Ryan and
Mm.
I, we are absolutely exploring what we can do. We have a couple of ideas. It's just a question of looking at how, because I don't want to kind of just take his idea and go, well, we'll just do the same thing for Europe.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
do
yeah.
Sunday and then play to a top 8, even though that's what we did on Pro
Yeah,
League, right? Like
yeah,
the last thing I want to do is just steal his thunder. But
yeah,
we at the same
exactly.
time we want Europe and international scenes to have something.
Yep.
So we're definitely looking into it. It's going to take some time. There are like one-off events starting up around, like you said, like the Prince Panther things are happening, and
Yeah, yeah.
Asa Matza talked about how his organization in Italy are putting something on. So
Mm.
there are things in the meantime, but
Yep.
we're still exploring options. We definitely want to get something off the ground. It's just not something that we're ready
It's
to
not
really
concrete
say.
enough to say
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
It's
fair.
not really guaranteed at the moment. We're still looking into what we can do.
Yep. Makes sense. All right. Well, thank you everyone for all the questions. Appreciate it. Mustard, this is gonna wrap it up because we've been going for way over time, but that's all good anyway.
Yeah, no worries, dude.
Um, First, thanks for breaking the seal on the podcast. Appreciate that. Definitely been a sick chat. I'm gonna give you a little chance to plug everything for anyone that doesn't follow you anywhere. Where can they do it?
Yeah, sure. So the main ones are Twitter and Twitch, I would say, and YouTube also. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at PNDMustard. On Twitch, Catch Up a Nice channel is PNDK and M. And on YouTube, it's PNDK&M as well. The only difference is on Twitch, it's KANDM, and on YouTube, it's K and sign M, because we couldn't have them both. And that really tilts me. Like, oh my goodness, you have no idea how much it irritates me that it's not exactly the same.
At least you're not getting called catch up every stream now because it used to be P&D catch up or something, right?
That was probably the most relieving point of last year was was getting the name changed, having that stop. But no, honestly, thank you so much for having me on board. This has been really chill, and
Hey, for sure, man. For sure,
yeah, no,
appreciate it.
anytime. Good luck with the future episodes. I will be watching.
Thank you. Good luck with the streams, and I'll see you. Hopefully, we get to see each other sometime soon. Maybe not this year, but at the next big event that we all get to go to. Hopefully, something happens.
Yeah, hopefully when things calm down, like what I would like to see, not to keep us going for too much longer. I know we've got to wrap up. What I would love to see is when all this COVID-19 business has finished, like if it does fix this year and everything goes back to normal, and stuff and live events can happen again, I would love to see, like, let's say it's in like September, right? Let's say that everything has gone messy until autumn, and then September happens and everything's fine. I would love to see there be like a big, like, the way Final Combat was supposed to have all this crazy cool stuff live, almost like a convention.
Yeah.
I would love to
Yep.
see that kind of thing done as like a welcome back celebration, like a convention for fans,
That would be
guest
sick.
appearances, celebrities, like
Final Combat, but not Final Combat.
yeah, exactly, and like a big one-off tournament, right? Like the last chance qualifier tournament, but like just as a big thing with all these prizes.
Come on, bro, you hit me right here, man.
That would
just
no,
broke my heart.
that would be so good if that was like a
That
big
would be amazing.
back to everyone, like a big celebration. But I don't know, that's just
yeah.
wishful thinking, I think.
Look, we're all wishful thinking right now, anyway.
Yeah, I do hope, of course, you're staying safe, Waz. I hope that you're not being too afflicted by this business. You guys in chat as well. Everyone stay safe, stay indoors, wash your hands, don't touch your face, all that business.
Damn, I didn't have to say anything. You just held it down. All right, man. I'll catch you later. Thanks again. Appreciate you.
So yeah, guys.